Well, so the basis of morality is feeling. I mean, when it comes down to it, um, because it's only a feeling, kind of a subjective feeling, that can give strength to any moral principle. And the principle, the greatest happiness principle, is no different from any other. It's to me, it's quite amazing sort of admission on Mill's part. He is not a Kantian because Mill does believe that ultimately the basis of morality is something like human nature, human feeling, subjective feeling, and that's what Kant thought would be the end of morality. Or if we believe that, then we completely misunderstood morality. For Kant, the basis of morality, the ultimate sanction that made it our duty to stay within the categorical imperatives, was a rational thing. It was not a feeling sort of thing. But I guess inevitably, um, Mill is saying that if you're a utilitarian and you're basically saying that pleasure is the good, and also that we have a duty to, as far as we can, promote other people's happiness, their pleasures, as well as our own, and to do what we can to help them to avoid unhappiness and suffering, as well as to avoid it for our own sake. He basically is admitting that you either feel that or you don't. Um, and, amazingly, he admits that, some people don't, right? Um, that some people have really overwhelmingly selfish feelings and don't really feel or recognize the greatest happiness principle or any duty to uphold it. But he says that's true of all morality. There's plenty of people who don't feel they have any, don't feel obligated by the categorical imperative. It doesn't mean the categorical imperative is necessarily wrong. It just means not everybody follows it. Now, for Mill, there's kind of a complicated answer to the question, well, if morality is just feeling, and if people have different feelings and people have different moralities, or some people who don't have the moral feeling just aren't going to be moral, I think he's saying, well, yeah, that's true. That's what we need education for. And moreover, it's more complicated for Mill. Mill believes that that the human beings, and he's writing in the 1800s, right? That human beings are kind of riding the crest of civilization. Mill is a progressivist. Mill believes that things are getting better, that society, despite its problems, is becoming better, and in important ways. He's not thinking of technology or the power of science to make life easier, although he would certainly encourage those things. No, he thinks that as civilization moves forward, it necessarily moves in the direction of utilitarianism. And this really comes up on page 6 when he starts talking about the social feelings. That the greatest happiness principle may be something which is not innate, he says, but even if it's not innate, it is very harmonious with human nature. And that's because we're social creatures, human beings. So the idea that we have a duty to look after the happiness of others as well as ourselves is second nature to us, if not natural to us. And that other possible, conceivable first principles of morality just wouldn't take root in the easy way that the greatest happiness principle does. And that, moreover, once it does take root, it tends to spread. That is, once we begin to think that all of us are responsible for the others in the sense that we all want to promote each other's happiness to the greatest degree possible, that tends to spread. And that's called civilization, I think, or a great part of civilization. Um, which is not to say that there's not injustice, that there's not exploitation, that there's not savagery in modern civilization. There certainly is. But we can gauge how well we're doing by how well we actually keep to the greatest happiness principle. And that it really is, I mean, to his mind, it's our only hope, I would say. I mean, if he was pressed, that as society gets more powerful, our technology and our economic, scientific powers, that keeping in mind that it's all for human happiness and human happiness equitably distributed, um, not just happiness for the rich, not just happiness for a minority, but as much as possible, happiness for everyone is really the end goal. That is our kind of collective consensual belief, you know, that government, even the economy, science, technology, really it should, even if it's not, serve the public good, meaning should serve everybody's interests equally. So even though he ultimately believes that the foundation of morality is a subjective feeling, which he doesn't claim is innate. He claims that, well, it might be innate, it might be artificial, that is, might be something that we have to teach people. But even if it's something that we have to teach people, it is like a lot of other human things. It may not be innate, but it seems natural to do. That this is the best we're going to do, I think, as a basis of morality.